extra pass, okay? Don't hang on to the ball too long, right? Make decisions. Everyone move. Jump. Try to use their early jump against them and see if they cheat in the middle. If they do, they get shots in the top. Alright? Let's go, Canada! Let's go, Canada!
Happy birthday, Lorraine, from hubby Sergio, but also from us as well, here at the North Arena. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to get back to the game. It is a 1-point advantage. Come on now. Who is supporting Canada?
So the second half about to get underway in this gold medal game between Australia and Canada. Australia with the slight 1-point advantage, but this man for Canada, Patrick Anderson, has been having a storming game as expected. Kevin Bowie is with me, who's analysing this game from a neutral perspective, although, of course, I've got to tell you, for reasons of impartiality, he does hail from Canada, but so far we've been happy with your impartiality. Kevin, what can we expect as we get underway in the second half?
I think you can expect a bit of the same. You can see right now Australia is set up really well on defense, pushing Canada wide again. Canada did a great job against Australia as well, doing the same thing. And, let's hope to see a little bit more shooting improvement, bringing up the stats just a little bit.
Anderson, Abdi Dimi, Richard Peter is on. Joey Johnson is the number 8, and Tyler Miller making up the 5 for the Canadian team. Justin Eveson and Brad Ness and Sean Norris, Michael Hartnett, Yannick Blair, the 5 on court for the defending champions. This is Eveson. Anderson to bring it away for the Canadian side.
Again, we start off with great defense on both sides, and those are tough looks for both sides, which means it's not necessarily that the offensive percentages are low because they're missing a lot of hoops. They're getting a lot of tough shots.
Anderson under a lot of pressure. Not something that bothers the great man. 17 points for the day. Norris at pace for the Australian side. Brad Ness. Canada to come away. Joey Johnson looking for support, shepherded by Eveson and Hartnett. Anderson outside the paint. Richard Peter with a little feint inside Ness to deliver 2 points to his side.
That's huge when you can have a midpoint player like Richard going up against a 4.5 player, or sorry, a 4-point player that can get some offense generated. That's what you really want to see, is midpoint players taking advantage of their class mismatches or vice versa.
Australia straight back on the scorecard through Sean Norris, who's got 9 points today.
Here Australia, they're shutting for 3 seconds. Canada has been spending a little bit of time in the paint right now, taking the time to cut in, look at the basket, and then pass off. And Australia is saying that that's 3 seconds. The referee's disagreeing right now. We'll see if that changes.
Eveson always moving, looking for his old sparring partner, Ness. Tyler Miller with that last basket for Canada, the number 14.
So you see one of the sort of softer fouls the referees call, but definitely a foul. You can see Abby sort of leaned in. There was a little bit of a move with the chair, and that sort of affected the balance of the shooter. And that's a foul.
Three-point lead for the Canadian side. Joey Johnson and Anderson and Miller. Abdi Dini looking to increase that lead. Marauding presence on the far side of Anderson. Johnson leaning back in the chair. Does that so well. Norris keen to get Australia back into contention. Eveson taking a tumble. These chairs take quite a battering, it seems.
They do, absolutely. And Anderson there saying that he spun himself. There was a good amount of space between the chairs. Sometimes that happens. From the referee's angle, it looks like there's a dig with the foot plate, and then the guy rotates, but often they're trying to cut and curl so quickly they can put themselves over too. Really, really tough to judge.
Eveson normally so good from that position. 1 out of 2.
See if Australia can heat up when they get to the free throw line. It's a good chance to get your rhythm, and Eveson definitely got his rhythm from there against USA yesterday, and we'll see if he can capitalize again.
Richard Peter to Anderson. Chad Jasmine is on, by the way, for the Canadian side, number 11, replacing Tyler Miller. Tyler Miller, the man with the most interesting haircut, I think, so far I've seen in the basketball.
Absolutely, he's got some interesting looks.
I think it's a go faster haircut. We'll see that when he comes back on. You can see him at the top of your picture on the sidelines at the moment. Conventional haircut, not a conventional player, Patrick Anderson. Racking up the points for his side, 19 for the day so far. Sean Norris plays his basketball in Perth. Back to his skipper, Brad Ness. Norris again, Eveson supporting. Does it alone.
Norris with a clutch basket there. That's a great look for him. Richard and him are very similar in terms of point value, but they're Norris getting the better in the head-to-head matchup there between two of the best 2.5 and class 3 players in the world.
Well, Richard Peter left wide open to attempt that basket. Sean Norris has got 11 points so far for Australia. Brad Ness with 10 and Justin Eveson with 7.
Unfortunate there for Norris picking up a little bit of a foul there. A little bit, another one of those sort of softer fouls where you feel like you're rolling in slow, but because the back wheels come up a little bit, it shows to the referee that maybe there was a little bit more contact, and then the charge foul gets called.
Sublime play from Patrick Anderson. .21 points for Anderson, taking this game to Australia. Mark of a great player to deliver when it's expected. We see that in all sports. You can have great names, but can they turn it on the big occasion? And Anderson certainly is proving that today.
Absolutely, that's a difference maker all the time. You look for your clutch performers and stuff like that. Australia's had choice acts in the past, doesn't have them anymore. But he's been a clutch performer for sure. Anderson as well with 2 Paralympic gold medals. And yeah, we're definitely seeing a show here tonight.
Voice of Kevin Barry with us on Paralympic Sport TV. You're watching coverage of the final coming live from the North Greenwich Arena on the banks of the River Thames in the eastern part of London, if you know your London geography. Venue started its life as the Millennium Dome for the Millennium in 2000. Has a commercial name. We don't refer to that commercial name for Olympic and Paralympic reasons, Kevin, so it's now the North Greenwich Arena.
Absolutely. I didn't realize that it had changed from Millennium when I first came, so it was a bit different. When I finally saw it, going to the venue, it was it was like, oh, isn't that Millennium?
Absolutely. That's still what a lot of people here call it. It's known as the Millennium Dome. It is a fabulous venue. We've had NBA basketball there. We've had NHL hockey there. You name it, musician-wise, they've played there. Led Zepp, Elton John, Paul McCartney. J-Lo was playing there soon, I understand.
It's great.
Yeah. Not sure I'll be going.
Terrific tilting play there from Joey Johnson just to tap the ball away, making it tough for Australia. I love a low shot clock here.
Norris delivering as ever for Australia.
So a great example of Norris looking for the head to turn to Knowles. As soon as he sees that head turn by Miller, accelerates to the hoop, and the give and go happens. That's great play.
Anderson, feinted ball. Sets up Abdi Dimi. 4-point advantage for Canada. And I guess at this stage you don't want anyone to get too far ahead. And that's when pressure can creep in, desperation.
A game like this, you want to keep runs to a minimum. And they both have been playing tremendous defense so far. We'll see who gets the first sort of momentum swinging basket, be like sort of a 3 or a big N1 play. That's sort of what I think will break this game open.
When is it players will attempt the 3-pointer generally?
A lot of the time when the defense decides to sag into the paint and you have a really good look with an easy roll and you're in your rhythm, that's when you'll see a lot of 3-point shots. Or the other time you see them is low in the shot clock when it can be really, really tough to score. The 3-point is sort of your last-ditch effort.
Richard Peter getting an awful lot of heat from Norris there.
Tough 3-second call on Richard there. It looked like he got the ball out and out of his hand. Doesn't actually have to touch the rim to qualify as resetting that 3 seconds in the paint versus the shot clock, which does have to hit the rim first. Spectacular basket by Norris.
Fabulous play by Norris. Doesn't stop fighting and trying. Having an inspired game for the Australian side. Another veteran of this team who's been around since Athens in 2004. Tristan Knowles for Australia. Back to Hartnett. Jerry Johnson for the Canadian side to Anderson. Tyler Miller back on. You can see number 14.
Great job by Tyler Miller there in the key. Could have been a foul, but I think the players, when they get away with it like that, like to refer to it as constructive interference. And Tyler doing a great job freeing up Anderson like that.
Tristan Knowles sets himself. Brings Australia back within 2 points. Keeping in touch with this Canadian side. Richard Peter, I think he's got tangled up with Justin Eveson.
Yeah, sometimes the players bump, they tilt up a little bit, and you see there he slides right into the footplate of Eveson. Quick lift out, the referee will stop the play and give it back to Canada.
Bo Hedges is on for the Canadian side. Richard Peter having disentangled himself on the sidelines. David Eng is on as well. Jerry Johnson taking a rest. It's David Eng starting as he means to go on. Second basket of the day for David Eng. From distance, well, there's one of the 3-pointers we were talking about. Tristan Knowles there.
Yeah, there you see Canada choosing to sag off, play a little bit of tight paint defense in their zone matchup. And Knowles taking advantage of that, saying, hey, if you're not going to respect me out here, I'll show you that I am worthy of being respected out here. If he had hit that, that could have been a real momentum changer for them. As now it looks like he is a threat. He can now fake that and create more pick and roll opportunities.
Anderson being given a lot of pressure, but slips the ball inside to Hedges, who delivers for Canada. And
yeah, there we see a perfect job of the pick and roll game with Bo Hedges and Patrick Anderson. And that's what Australia needs to start executing better. Oh, great steal.
Norris giving his all for the Australian side. Having an inspired game is Sean Norris. 17 points to Norris so far today. Anderson's got a few as well. David Eng on the near side. The difference between watching these two teams and others, to my mind, Kevin, is that when they get the chance, they seem to score. They create chances and they deliver. 3-point attempt coming in from the far side.
Absolutely, both teams are typically high percentage teams. They take good looks, they have great systems, they execute those systems, and then they finish around the basket. You'll see a lot of other teams that have similar systems but don't execute to the same fashion and don't have real finish outside and inside. A lot of teams try and pound the ball inside, and that's where they know they're strong in finish. The great teams can really hurt you outside and inside. You have to respect that.
Yeah, it's end-to-end stuff, but it is a 6-point Canadian advantage heading towards the end of the third quarter. Grant Mizens is on for the Australian team. Sean Norris, for all his efforts, is taking a breather. Nick Taylor is in as well. Tristan Knowles on the sidelines. Coaches on both sides mixing it up.
Good move here by Australia to sub out Norris. He's got a few fouls in the game, but has played majority of this quarter without taking another one. 1 minute left to go. Great chance to rest him so he doesn't pick up something near the end of the quarter that you don't want him to pick up. He's going to be key in the fourth quarter.
Ben Ettridge and Jerry Tonello, the two coaches. Justin Everson delivering, as he's done so many times for this Australian side, and they're back within 4 points. Barely 50 on the clock in this quarter. Can Canada take it back to 6? No, they can't. David Eng getting a lot of pressure. Likes of Nick Taylor. Plays for the Wollongong Rollerhawks in Wollongong. There's a name to conjure with.
So he did a great job of that.
Taylor to Brad Ness. Eveson. Taylor again. It's getting a bit static for the Australian side.
And there, the ball's on the ground, similar to the play that happened early to David Eng. Ness reaches down there, the ball's a little bit loose. He bumps into his teammate to secure the ball, and his back wheels come up. That's a physical advantage to be able to pick that up. And so that's the violation version of it. If he had control of the ball, you would have seen that be actually a personal foul.
Seconds on the clock. Taylor looking for Eveson. Thinks about the long one. 3 on the clock. Would have been a good way for his team to go into the turnaround. 46-42. Canada lead, but as we saw in the first 2 quarters as well, again, nothing really in this game at all. Kevin Bowie.
Yeah, for sure. You can see the numbers here. Canada definitely shooting at a little bit better percentage now. 20 points in a quarter, that's elite level scoring, and that's what you really want to see if you're Canada looking forward. But if you're Australia, you have done a great job on defense. You're hanging right in there. If you can keep rebounding at the level you are and use your height advantage, they don't have a ton of fouls picked up now, so they can go with their physical play and keep working hard.
What is the game we expected between the teams we expected, and the crowd are loving it. They've had a couple of good warm-ups today already, with Germany losing to Spain in the playoff for 5th and 6th, and then the United States winning the bronze medal against Great Britain. That was just the hors d'oeuvre for the main course, which is the gold medal game between Canada and Australia. Canada with that 4-point advantage, and the advantage on a couple of stats as well, certainly on the field goal percentage.
Absolutely. Anytime you're shooting around 50%, you're doing extremely well. Canada just needs to do a little bit better job of boxing out and not giving Australia those rebound opportunities that they've then capitalized on.
I know Patrick Anderson scores a lot of points, but he's a terrific creator as well. I mean, the sleight of hand he's got, and the look in one direction, the offload in another direction is great to see.
Absolutely. There you get a little slow-mo shot of some of Patrick's flare moves there. He definitely likes to play the game with a lot of finesse. Definitely a creator as well as an offensive counterpuncher there. sort of contrary styles to Ness, who's that power player, really likes to bull his way into the key, but is a tremendous finisher when he has to be and use that height advantage.
So we're underway in the final quarter. 4-point advantage to the Canadian side. Gold medal up for grabs. And a reminder, in case you didn't know, that Australia are the defending champions. And who did they beat the gold medal 4 years ago? A certain team called Canada, who have payback on their mind. Eveson running into Dylan Alcott.
Tough one there. Great switch by Brandon Wagner to get in there and play Eveson, but Eveson hitting and lifting his back wheels, then creating that pass, and that's where we see that become a personal foul.
Anderson from distance. Ness to Eveson. Norris back on this side, so influential in this game. Inside ball. Eveson rarely misses those.
Hopefully that'll steady the Australians here. Both teams have come out a little bit ragged after such a great third quarter, but we'll see here.
Anderson it is this time within the paint.
Trading inside hoops there.
Eveson looking for Norris on the move. Bo Hedges and Sean Norris coming together.
Norris pivoting around there and catching his fifth wheel. Sometimes that puts you back a little bit, and then you end up wiping out. Bo Hedges drives underneath him a little bit, creating a bit of a foul.
Joey Johnson back on for David Eng for the Canadian side. Tyler Miller is there as well, number 14. This is number 7 for the Australian team, Sean Norris. 19 points to his name today of his team's 46. Canada still 2 ahead. Hedges to Johnson. Anderson inside the paint, back to Hedges. Anderson being closed down by formidable bulk of Brad Ness, but inside ball. Eveson will bring it away. A rare Canadian foray into Australian territory without scoring. And that's going to delight the Australian bench. Ben Ettridge and Matteo Ferriani and Tom Kyle, because their team are now level after quite a while when they've been 2 and 4 points down to the Canadian side.
Absolutely. Canada getting a little bit away from their typical ball play where they rotate the ball left and right to try and create holes. They're going a little bit too much one-on-one right now, and hopefully they sort of right the ship there and steady it up. But great job for Australia to draw even.
It's such a quality game with quality players that if someone does miss a basket, as we saw there when Canada had that foray into the Australian paint, that it's almost a surprise. Other games you see a lot of baskets missed, but we've had end-to-end quality play for the last 10 minutes effectively.
Absolutely, and you are seeing the 2 best teams in the world here, and that's why they're here. They execute at a really, really high level, and there are very few teams in the world that can execute at this level, and especially for as long as these 2 teams have been powerhouses.
Coming down to the last phase of the game as we're heading into with 7 on the clock, fitness and fatigue is going to be certainly a factor. I guess top-level teams are about as fit as each other. So what is going to determine? You were saying earlier that if a team is made to defend heavily against a lot of pressure, that can really wear them out a bit.
Absolutely, you get mentally fatigued when you have to communicate non-stop. As you get tired, the communication is the first thing to break down. Your skills are still there, but if you're not communicating those skills to your teammates, you're not going to be successful in your execution. So that's really what teams can do to frustrate each other, is do a lot of ball rotation, try and dictate the play in your half, and execute when you can.
A lot of Canadian support at the North Greenwich Arena. A lot of imaginative costumes as well for some of your...
Yeah, the Canadian ladies team are definitely representing tonight, all done up and stuff like that.
Yeah, why not? Well, they've done their business, and now they're here to enjoy the Village People and YMCA and Queen and every other song we've heard about 50
Absolutely,
times a day.
it is pretty fun in the stadium there. As the announcer likes to put it seems get his boogie on down there.
Boogie on down. So we're in a great position, 7 minutes to go, and it's all level at 48 all. The likes of Anderson for Canada and Norris for Australia showing some great skills. Nothing between these two sides, so will it come down to some great plays? Will it come down to a mistake? Will the pressure tell? Time will tell over the next 6.5 minutes. Who'd be a coach? Who'd be Ben Ettridge or Jerry Tonello when you can't even get out there? You coach as well as play?
I have coached. I've coached at the Canada Games level and coached some of our BC camps. And it's a pleasure to do. I love to coach new wheelchair basketball players, and that's really what both these sides are really good at too. A lot of their players give back to local sport and help build that next generation, and that helps again, achieve high performance results as well as development results.
And given the respective ages of these sides and the experience we've spoken about, a lot of players going back as far as Sydney 2000, Brazil in 4 years' time, we could have an entirely fresh-looking roster for a number of teams.
You absolutely could. I'm not sure about Australia, but I am sure about Canada. Has several retirements that are already going to take place. Feature players like Joey Johnson are definitely done with their Paralympic lives and will be moving on to do great things in other aspects of their lives.
Give us an idea of the sort of commitment that someone like Joey Johnson has got to put in to stay on the team at his age.
Well, absolutely. There's great commitment. He actually has his whole family living over with him in Germany. They owned a home there, and that's training 5 days a week, playing games every weekend, traveling around the world, and as well as Team Canada commitments on top of club ball. And that's a very understanding wife and a very supportive family in the Johnson family. His brother is the women's wheelchair basketball national team coach, and their family's extremely involved in the sport in Canada.
Richard Peter scoring for the Canadians, another man who's got a family involved in the sport as well.
Yeah, absolutely. His wife is the assistant coach for the women's wheelchair basketball national team, and they've been together for a really long time, and yeah, they're a great partnership.
Except, of course, if you go home and if your wife is a coach, she's going to tell you exactly what you did wrong as a player that day on the court.
Yeah, I think Marnie tries. Richard is a bit of a stubborn individual, but Marnie makes an effort, and Richard always tries to listen.
Canada ahead by 2 thanks to that Richard Peter basket you just saw. Sean Norris for Australia. Brad Ness, Eveson in the paint. Ness will go himself. Anderson goes long to Joey Johnson.
Good hard foul by Australia there. Unfortunate that the referee judged that it was a clear path foul. Judged that Anderson was completely in front, or sorry, Johnson was completely in front. And therefore, now Johnson will get 2 free throws and the ball for Canada. Otherwise, smart idea for Norris to foul early to try and save a basket there. Joey terrific in the semifinal from the free throw line, so we'll see if he has the same magic here.
Got 8 points, looking for 9. Sean Norris is just about everywhere you look. He's in attack, he's in defense. He was the man who was leading one attack, and then he was the man at the end committing that foul on on Joey Johnson.
So he's definitely a grinder, hustle play guy, and he has the finesse to score. So he's a spectacular player to watch, actually.
Talking of spectacular, Anderson to Richard Peter. Abdi Dini mopping up for the Canadian side. Johnson, Tyler Miller on the near side. Brad Ness and Hartlett doing the hassling, but Richard Peter has got a good reach as well.
Absolutely great eyes from Joey Johnson to bypass his natural pick and roll and see Richard's one-on-one cut. That's a spectacular play by Canada and a great finish by Richard Peter.
Suddenly a bit of concern at the gap that is creeping into this game between Canada and Australia. 53-48. Australia will want a couple of quick baskets to get back into contention, but they're struggling to make the space at the moment, and they're being blocked off well, the likes of Ness, and that's what pressure does. Johnson fed by Richard Peter. Comes together with Justin Everson.
Smart foul by Everson there, saving the hoop from guaranteed hoop almost for Joey. So Canada finally finding their rhythm on defense. They had started sagging a little bit too much in the key and are now rotating extremely well when Australia tries to rotate the ball. So that's great pressure from them.
There's a concerned man, Ben Etheridge, on the Australian bench. Is the pressure getting to Joey Johnson, I wonder? So good, as you say, in previous games from the free shots.
Absolutely, he was definitely the man on end-to-end, both defense and offense in the semi-final that led Canada, and spectacular free throw shooting was a big difference in that game, but here just missing a few, get rattled, taking a few tough fouls though to get there.
Tristan Knowles is on for the Australian side. Number 9 there with Patrick Anderson.
So again, early fouls by Knowles on the entry pass before Patrick gets a chance to set and shoot. Patrick looking for the hoop and the harm there, but really the referee very correct in giving Canada sideline inbound here. But I guess they are over the limit, so they'll shoot too.
.26 points so far today for Patrick Anderson, looking to make it 27, but his team have that 4-point advantage with 4 on the clock. Knowles for Australia, twisting and turning and looking for an opening for the likes of Justin Everson.
Saw that the shooters were all there just trickling in, but Knowles a good shooter, and sometimes you the time you spend in the gym pays off, and the ball just wants to go down for you.
Agonizing basket for Australia. They're within 2 points. There's not a great deal you can do about it, I guess, when Anderson sets his mind to it like that.
Absolutely, he rotates very quickly, and that's really his strength, is less speed and more quickness. He rotates quickly to the baseline, Knowles adjusts, then rotates quickly back high, Abdi there to set the pick, Patrick almost setting that up on his own, and then creating an open look for himself with no hand in his face.
Sometimes in basketball you get players like the Kobe Bryants and the Shaq O'Neals and the Michael Jordans, where the opposition know exactly where he's going to go or what he's going to do, but they can't do anything about it. We've seen that on more than one occasion in this tournament with Anderson.
He is definitely that type of player.
Lionel Messi in football comes to mind. Maradona of years gone by. On their day, unstoppable. But given the talents of Patrick Anderson, it's been a team effort by Australia to stay in touch so far. 4 points in it. Knowles looking for an opening. Norris on the near side.
Again, Australia tough on the offensive boards there. Fortunately not able to capitalize.
The lead is being stretched just at a decisive point with less than 2 minutes on the clock. 6 points ahead is Jerry Tonello's team. 58-52. Guess who's got 30 of them?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a phenomenal shooting display down the stretch by the best player in wheelchair basketball right now. That's what you really want as a coach, to see that your best guy is firing on all cylinders when you have the game in your hands right now. So look for Australia here to really shadow Pat all around the court and see if they can't disrupt that rhythm a little bit. Maybe even throw a little bit of pressure out of this timeout just to see if they can't sort of change just a little bit of the dynamic for Canada.
We haven't seen too many attempts at the three-pointers, but given that Canada are leading by 6 points, do you expect Australia, the likes of Ness and Eveson and Norris, to actually attempt the odd distance, or is that too much of a risk even with 2 minutes on the clock?
With 2 minutes left, you'll start to see them thinking about the three, maybe running it off some set plays if they get some low shot clock timeouts or out of bounds plays. But I really expect that with the type of game that it is right now, they'll chip away with 2 points. Those are higher percentage baskets. Although you will see three-point become a weapon in the close quarters there. Little foul there by Richard Peter. Both players approaching the same path. Sometimes it's the one that arrives just a little bit late that gets the call on them. But I think the referee's got it correct there.
Pressure now on Eveson to reduce this deficit.
See how early the communication starts with the players. You can really hear them yelling, like, who's got the inbound, who's got the outlet pass. That's great to see down the stretch when everybody's tired.
Australia within 5. 1:53 to play.
Yeah, you see veterans like Peter and Johnson and Anderson out there. This is a crew that's been out there since the 1998 World Championship, or 1998 World
Incredibly
Championship.
experienced, isn't it?
So very, very experienced side, and definitely comfortable in these sort of situations. Jerry Tonello really going with that type of lineup. Australia now playing the foul game a little bit, I think, just trying to get their fouls up, and now Canada will shoot on every free throw, hoping for misses, get the rebound, outlet it quickly, and try and score in transition. That's really the name of the game here.
A lot of tension on these faces, especially on the Australian side. Abdi Dini looking to stretch that lead to 6. Australia chance to come away. Time running out. Tristan Knowles. Eveson. Knowles setting himself, getting pressure. It's just going to give Canada the chance to break away again.
Knowles really looking to take advantage of a big class mismatch there. Abdi Dini as a 1, and Knowles is a 4. He wasn't able to, unfortunately. Thought really he had a great chance to knock down some points for Australia and bring them closer.
You can hear the Canadians in the crowd when Patrick Anderson scores, especially at such a pivotal time. 6-point lead.
6-point lead is big right now. They will have 2 big pivotal possessions where now they might be forced to take threes.
Norris played so well for Australia. Each time Australia fail to net a basket, it gives the chance of Anderson to break away. Johnson and Dinny with him inside the paint. Lovely dummy.
Tough for Australia there to choose. Who do you choose there, Johnson or Patrick? And yeah, they're both capable of finishing. Pat's using to pad his stats a little bit, taking on his own.
Yeah. As we were saying earlier, Johnson, a man who can deliver under pressure as well. No one quite like this fella, though.
No, tremendously good with ball fakes and getting Knowles off his feet there.
.52 seconds on the clock. 61-53. Norris going for the three-pointer. Back inside to Brad Ness. 61-55. 40 seconds to play. Richard Peter on his own.
We see a 5-hard press by Australia, really trying to pick for the steal there and get some quick, easy points. But Anderson and Johnson able to outlet the ball and to Richard Peter. A smart move for Richard Peter to pull it out and stall time. Australia would have really hoped for a wide open layup there and a chance to have the ball shoot another three.
Seven-point gap. No one ever calls these games, bearing in mind some amazing things we've seen in the past. Clips of 1972 when there was, 2 seconds on the clock in the Olympics between America and the Soviet Union. Disputed time on the clock, and the Soviet Union came back to famously win that game in the last 2 seconds. But, you know, speaking dispassionately, Kevin Barry, 7 points ahead with 30 seconds on the clock. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good for my nation. A lot of these players are close friends of mine. Some of them helped mentor me as an athlete, as a player in wheelchair basketball. Joey Johnson's from my hometown, and he's retiring after this game. So is Richard Peter, who's also a big influence on my life. We're friends and teammates in Vancouver. And great to see players like my friend Bo Hedges really make a great effort out there. And you know, he's an up-and-coming player for Canada.
It's been a fabulous team performance, fabulous individual performances as well on the Canadian side from the likes of Anderson and Johnson and Hedges. Tristan Knowles is on for the Australian team. Dylan Alcock as well. Nick Taylor's come in. Final throw of the dice from Fred Hetheridge. Second three-point attempt in the last few minutes. Now, had those two both gone in, you might be not smiling as much as you are now.
No, Kevin absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Australia has the eye to shoot that, and they definitely didn't really use it as a weapon this game, but they do have that range, and all these elite teams do really. If anybody watched the Beijing semifinal, they would have seen Patrick Anderson nail quite a few threes just to keep Canada in it, and then send them to the gold in overtimes, several of them.
Pressure throw delivered by one of the most experienced players on the Canadian squad, Richard Peter. 2 out of 2 for him. 10 points for the day. 9-point lead. 3-point attempt from Knowles.
There you see some of that range that they do have.
That's one incredible skill, you've got to say, to be doing that at pace. It's always great to see. The fans love it.
Absolutely, it is. The three-point line can be a great equalizer, and none of the teams really used it today to their advantage, but sometimes those 2-point high percentage baskets are the way to go.
Well, it has been a cagey affair, you have to say. I mean, no one's, as you say, extended themselves on that 3-point line, but you don't want to run the risk of turning the ball over or putting yourself on the back foot by missing something which you don't necessarily need to go for at that stage.
Absolutely. Kudos go to Australia for sure. They've shown a lot of fortitude in the end. Playing the fouling game often can just see the lead grow and grow and grow as teams hit, and Canada has hit. But Australia's come back and also hit the baskets they need to make to keep it even and keep playing the foul game successfully. So Australia is doing a great job and has all game. Defensively, they were strong. Offensively, just a little bit lower shooting percentage than Canada, and that's shown to be the difference right now.
Patrick Anderson will just play keep ball. They know exactly what's going to happen. The crowd knows what's going to happen, and so do the Australian players as well. Done and dusted by 64 points to 58. Delight on the Canadian side. Regaining rather their Paralympic gold medal that they lost 4 years ago, and gaining revenge over this Australian side. And a few tears, I think, in the eyes of the coach, Jerry Tonello there. Emotive time.
Absolutely. Jerry has been coaching this team for a really long time. He was their assistant since Sydney and took over the coaching reins just in Beijing there. And it's been a long time coming for him to get that victory as a